Hey there everyone, Lord Frigid here with another episode of Aether Raids Offense. Today covers the recently completed light season. I had a pretty smooth season myself. I actually was able to build a new raiding party. I had previously consolidated two of the teams that used Idun on them because they introduced the concept of offense mythics in the bonus rotation consistently. So I was basically able to do away with one entirely because that change made it redundant. So I was running some kind of funky hit-and-run Brave Edelgard and Reinhardt composition in there for a while, but with the addition of the latest Lyfja banner, specifically Sarah with her Return Plus skill, I was able to bring Elise back into the raiding party lineup with her own dedicated team where she is the star of the show, so that was really fun to mess around with. Actually, today's two battles will feature that team, so let's just go ahead and get right into those. The first map is a box-style setup. It uses Hell as the vanguard unit to make player phase approaches difficult, and it has a back line of Lyn, Bramimond, Ophelia, and arguably Micaiah, depending on who you're using as your tank, to make it harder to use a tanking approach. I would say that the biggest weakness on this map is structural. There's definitely a compositional weakness to isolation. You can isolate ralliers, refreshers, or both due to the rally trap nature of the map. But I do think one of the easiest ways to get an approach going is to simply smite a unit across the left-hand water tile, have them pick off Bramimond, and then refresh them with Peony. With the Gentle Dream bonus, they will then be able to jump back over the water tile out of no man's land, and then you're free to respond to however the enemy chooses to react. Your units will be perfectly safe from the first turn of AI aggression this way. So that is what I see as the biggest weakness. That being said, I actually did use an isolation approach, so let's just go ahead and get right into that. I will be sending in the Elise raiding party for this battle. I'm going to go ahead and kick things off, well, by breaking a few structures actually, but once I get around to actually fighting the enemies, I'm going to kick things off by taking out the Micaiah and the Hell, and having the Azura and the Bramimond, well, I guess more importantly the Azura, isolated by Mila, so the Azura cannot assist with the advance of the remaining foes. So I'm going to go ahead and just break some stuff here. And it's going to take me another couple turns to get set up, I believe. I'm going to begin by moving Air up and refreshing her. Then I will smite her onto that heavy trap with Mila. Okay, that's not real. I really just wanted to open up that space so I can have Elise attack Micaiah from that location. So I do have one more turn of setup here just so I can get my refreshers into place. So I guess, let's see here, I guess I don't really need to move Azura there. She's fine where she is, and then Air can go ahead and take out the M4A because it's there and she can. And then I'll just hit end turn. Now Azura is getting isolation applied to her, and I can go ahead, well, first let me double check. Okay, good, perfect. Luckily, Hill's Reaper does not give her the miracle effect against staff and magic users, of which Elise is definitely one. So, take out the Micaiah, then give her a refresh from Azura, and then I can go ahead and take out the Hell, give her one more refresh from Peony, so she can use Return to get Azura to safety. And after that, I'm basically home free because Elise's staff's gravity effect prevents the enemies from actually reaching any of my units. So that's really, really nice. Let me go ahead and just finish off the execution on that with a refresh and a use of Return. And I guess maybe trying to get a predict on the Azura movement. I actually don't know. I could maybe map it out, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Oh. I should have noticed that the remaining units can only move one space anyway. Okay, how am I going to do this? I think I take out the Bramimond, and then I could probably get Elise to delete the not Azura enemies and just finish off Azura on the enemy phase. Let's see if I can do... Yeah, I should be able to do that, since Azura's got the gravity effect applied to her now. So, yeah, with Ophelia taken down now, I can then refresh Elise one more time, and then have her move 3 spaces to the space just below the Azura and take out the Lyn. So let me go ahead and get that taken care of. Refresh there, and then perfect. So the enemy phase should see Legendary Azura go down to Elise. She has Miracle Charged, though I don't think she's going to need it at all. It's just a nice little safety net there. So it doesn't really matter what I do. I can probably just hit end turn. Well, I mean, make my units wait, which is effectively end turn. Since I had 2 units, I probably should have just hit end turn instead. Oh well. Oh yeah, Azura doesn't deal any damage at all. So this was a pretty smooth finisher. The second map up is a cav line. Duh, you can tell just by looking at it. I know I said I was going to try to not show as many cav lines on this series just because the weaknesses for them are generally the same. I think there's a exception now that they've released the Winter Bernadetta with her Christome that actually works in disgusting ways with the new positioning staff skills. But obviously that's not what this map's basis is. I'm just really showcasing it because it was honestly the hardest map that I got this season. So I guess cav lines just generally, again, empty space on the back line helps. Having multiple units that can tank helps. As long as you've got some combination of those two, you shouldn't have too much trouble. Let's just go ahead and get into my personal approach. This map is a job for the Elise raiding party. I'm actually going to do something a little unusual relative to what I usually do with cav lines and actually do a turn 2 initiation. Usually I'd send in a team that is able to tank multiple units on the enemy phase and just do a turn 1, but this time I'm going to set this up here. Let me go ahead and move Milla in place to isolate the Sigurd. The Clarine does have odd recovery, but surprise, surprise, that doesn't do jack on even-numbered turns. So, let me go ahead and use Return to get Azura up 1 space, then a Refresh from Peony to give Elise another action, and apply Gentle Dream bonuses to Azura. That will allow her to warp to Elise, or to the space to Elise's left, on after Elise takes out Mia here, bypassing that Bolt Trap, which I do strongly suspect is real. Let me go ahead and do that, give her a refresh, might as well break this block. And then now Azura is in the range of Sigurd, so I am fully expecting him to attack her. He's the only one who can attack. Then the rest of the enemies should just advance. Let me go ahead and move the rest of my units. Let's see. So an attack from Sigurd. Oh. Huh. For some god-awful reason, I was expecting him to attack from the space to the left of the Panic Manor. I don't know why I thought that was going to happen, because that's not how the AI works. But this actually works out better for me, because now Yoon is able to use aerobatics to warp to him and attack Elise. Of course, Elise just demolishes her, despite the fact that she doesn't have either of her solo skills active. But, okay, that's cool. So, speaking of solo skills, I believe Clarine has double solo in A and Seal slot, so let me see what I can do with... Ooh, that is not pretty.
It will be done.
Smite Air up, see what she can do?
Yes.
Ooh, that's not good either.
Yes?
I think I'm going to need to take some thinking time here, and I will be right back with you. So the solution here, as it turns out, is to kick things off by having air attack Sigurd. That accomplishes 2 things. Well, 1, it deletes Sigurd, and 2, it actually brings air to under half HP, allowing Peony to warp into the space adjacent to her, and giving her an extra action, since otherwise she wouldn't have even been able to get into the action at all. With the penalties shaken and the buffs from Gentle Dream, air is actually able to 1-hit KO the Clarine with an Iceberg activation, which allows me to finish the turn off by moving Elise up 2 spaces, giving her a refresh, and then planting her squarely in front of Selena. She will trap Selena, preventing her from moving, obviously, between the Aether Amphorae and the Flyer School, and Bramimond will fall to Elise on the enemy phase. 2 29s is normally death, but Elise does have Miracle, which is kind of interesting. I don't usually, or rather I'm not used to playing around Miracle, so it was kind of fun to get a little change of pace there. Anyway, Elise is able to take out the Bramimond, and then I should have a very easy time cleaning this up, especially since, I mean, if it really comes down to it, she just one-shots her. I mean, her defenses are pretty horrible, but if it really came down to it, I could have just slowly chipped her down with attacks from Dazzling Staff Elise. Can I do this right now? I don't know if I can, actually. I mean, no big deal. I can just do it next turn. I'll just do that, and then get rid of this heavy trap that's bothering me. And no, I could have. Oh, well. Shoot. My mistake. Alright, again, doesn't matter. I'm only on turn 4 of 8, soon to be 5. So now I can just go ahead and take the M4A, and then have Elise finish the job. And that is it. I hope you all enjoyed this episode of Aether Raids Offense. I myself had a lot of fun with the new Elise raiding party. I actually ended up deploying that for the second half of my season, so I'm quite pleased with how that's turning out to be so effective. Next week we'll be going into Astra season, so we'll have to see how that goes. From what I hear, that's the first season where we'll have Vault of Heaven, and since I finished Tier 28 this season, I should be starting there, ? We'll see how it goes. Yeah, that's all I've got for you this week. So, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you next time.